Buying the right pad for your hiking adventures is difficult. You need it to be warm enough, comfortable enough, light enough to carry and small enough not to take too much space in your backpack. On top of that, the most popular pads, like the ones from Hammenrudh, Nemo, X-Pad and Big Agnes, can be a little bit expensive. So today we'll take a closer look at a new pad from FLEXTAIL that costs half as much of the brand mentioned, weighs about the same and has an R value of 5.6, so it will be good for all 3 seasons and then some. The pad I'm talking about is the ZeroPad R5. And yeah, I have tried it out on a hike, so I'm here to give you my unbiased experience using this pad. And not to say too much, but it is not all good. So don't go anywhere and stay tuned. What people find comfortable is very much depending on how you sleep, if you're a side, back or a stomach sleeper. And for you to get some reference on how I feel and experience this pad is that I'm a side sleeper, and my experience is based on that fact. This is the ZeroMat R5 from FLEXTAIL in size regular. It is 183 x 65 centimeters big, it's 7 centimeters thick, has an R value of 5.6, and it weighs in at 688 grams or 24.3 ounces. My version though is a little bit heavier and weighs in at 742 grams on my scale, and that is including the storage bag. You can get it in a smaller, lighter mummy shape as well, but for maximum comfort, this is it. It costs about 130 euros or $140 if living in the US, and for that price it is very, very interesting. But the question is not if the spec is nice or if the price is good. The main question is when it comes to warmth, comfort and the overall quality and how it compares to competition. And so far the experience I have is it has some issues that I will address during this episode. So let's dive into the review and my experience using this pad. First of all, and from a price point of view, this is a cheap pad, and even cheaper if you also add Robert 15 during checkout for a 15% discount. Or just follow the affiliate link down in the description. For about 130 euros you will get a wide rectangular pad with an R value to take you through all 4 seasons. On paper anyways. And in comparison to a Hammenrudh Neo Air X-Lite NXT at 4.5 in R value, you will have to pay twice as much for that pad. So if this matches your criteria, this is a bargain. The pack size. Well, this is the first problem that I encountered. The pack size is like 2 or maybe even 3 times bigger in comparison to my Nemo Tensor Insulated Alpine. This makes me need to think twice about what I bring, because I only have a 50-liter pack, and imagine those only using a 40-liter pack. This can be a real deal breaker for them. On top of that, it is also very difficult to completely empty from air, making the pack size even bigger. For me, it is a little bit too bulky in comparison to many other pads. Inflating the pad takes like no time, and about 1 minute and 20 seconds if using one of these zero pumps, and I gotta say, I love it. If you don't have one of these, go get it. You will not be sorry, and I will leave some links to it down in the description. And yeah, the 15% discount Robert 15 can also be used for this pump and all other gear from FLEXTAIL. Now, what I don't understand is the position of the valve. It is on the downside, making you need to flip over the pad when you are done inflating. This is a little bit strange because it also makes it more difficult during the night when lying on top of the pad to adjust the amount of air. The vent should be placed on top for easy adjustments, period. Other than that, well, nothing to add. For warmth, well, the 5.6 in R value should be able to keep you warm all 4 seasons, but for me, when I used that pad, I didn't experience it to be much warmer than my Nemo Tensor Alpine at 4.8. One of the reasons for that, and what I discovered to be a big problem, if you look at this picture, when holding it against the light, I guess you can see what I mean. The pad lacks insulating materials on the 2 edge tubes, and this I could clearly feel when lying on my back. I could feel my elbows getting cold during the night. This is not a good thing, and probably the reason I didn't experience to be as warm as expected. In fact, instead of having a full wide 64 centimeters pad, you need to lie in the center, ending up with a pad not more than 47 centimeters wide. Now that is no good. And imagine the mummy version of this pad at only 55 centimeters. You will need to lie on the side all the time if it gets cold, or you will freeze your ass off. For warmth it is okay and what you can expect, if you lie in the center. Otherwise, no. When it comes to comfort, I gotta say I was a little bit skeptic at first, because as a side sleeper, the vertical tube structure, like the ones on the Zero pad, along with pads from X-Pad and some other brands, it's not the best choice. The fabric also feels a little bit cheap, and as far as I can feel, there's no stretch in it either. But despite that, I had a really good night's sleep using this pad, so I can't really complain. What I feel could improve my sleeping experience was if this pad also was available in like a wide and a long version, like my Nemo Tensor Alpine. As I'm 180 centimeters or 5'10", the 183 centimeter long pad makes me many times have my heels coming off the pad during the night. But despite that, for comfort, it gets my approval. A buy or a no buy? Well, in my opinion, it feels a little bit cheap and plasticky, and I would rather have seen them using some softer fabrics and some higher quality in the valve for smoother adjustments, and for it to be a little bit more easy to empty from air, and for the pack size to be a little bit smaller. But for comfort and for warmth and for price, it is okay. Because we got to remember that this pad costs only half the amount of Nemo Alpine or the Thermarest X Lite and other high quality pads. So maybe we can't expect much more of it. It does what it's supposed to do, but not more. But if you don't have the money to spend on a Nemo pad, on a Thermarest pad, and don't mind the added weight and bulk, well then I believe this to be a really good budget option. It will keep you warm, it is very comfortable, and the price is good and worth your money spent. Now what do you think? Is it worth buying? Or should you instead save up your money and buy a Thermarest or a Nemo pad instead? Leave a comment. Now I hope you enjoyed today's episode and the review on the Zero pad. Now hit like, subscribe and turn on the notifications. And I hope also to see you again next week. Bye bye.